So Daniel Sanders said, I flew to America and I've been doing a lot of motocross training to maintain my fitness on the bike and keep that intensity you need. So as usual, it doesn't give us too much insight into how to train on the bike or how to build your fitness to be able to help with your enduro riding and racing. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Andrew Hammer. I struggled with riding and racing fitness for about 14 years of racing, and I don't want you to be one of those riders. So there's three different ways. I'm going to dig into this a little bit more. There's three ways that you can cross-train to be able to help with your enduro riding and racing if you're not able to go out and ride for 3 or 4 hours, 3 or 4 times a week, which is for most of you. So first thing is structure your bike time for your goal. So if you're working towards doing a 3-hour enduro, then you want to make sure that you're accumulating time and accumulating enough volume on the bike to be able to help you with a 3-hour enduro. Now, the biggest mistake that I see is a lot of riders here will train for a particular event. So let's say for Fink. So Fink might be roughly 3 hours, depending on your ability. And when they go and train, what they'll do is they'll go and do half an hour rides, or they'll go and ride for 2 hours. Or they'll go and ride for 3 hours, but they're stopping and starting and then stopping for lunch and then pulling over all the time and chatting with their mates and having a break. And so the problem is that with all of that riding, their body never actually adjusts and gets used to being on the bike, riding hard for a period of 3 hours with no breaks. So they do all this practice and all of this riding, and then when they get to race day or they get to, say, Fink, for example, their body's not ready for it, okay? They're not able to cope with the conditions as well as what they could have if they'd focused on volume. So what I mean by volume is if you're not riding on the bike all of the time, so in other words, if you're not a professional rider and racer and you've only got limited opportunities to go and ride, it's up to you to make sure that you get the most out of those rides to transfer over to your racing. And so the best way to be able to do that is to do rides that are a similar distance to what you are racing towards. So if you're doing a 3-hour enduro, you want to make sure that on all of your practice rides, you're doing roughly 3 hours on the bike, anywhere between 2 to 3 hours at a consistent speed with limited stops. Sometimes that means just structuring your riding a little bit better. Number two, maybe it means finding some new mates to ride with. So if you're someone who's riding and racing and you're riding with people that just casual riders, they're going to want to stop and start. They're probably not as fit as you. They're probably not as interested as you in pushing their riding and getting better and wanting to when they get tired, they just want to have a rest. Whereas when you get tired, you need to be able to keep moving and get your body used to being on the bike. So main lesson here is just volume. Second thing is gym training versus exercise. So Daniel mentioned here more about the motocross training. So when we talk about motocross training, we're talking about gym training. First thing that we need to identify is, okay, what resources do I have available to help me get better on the bike? For a professional rider and racer, they can go riding pretty much as they want. Okay, they can get on the bike 3, 4, 5 times a week if they want to. For a lot of us though, we don't have that option. Okay, we're not able to get on the bike as much. So what that means is we've got to come up with other ways to be able to improve our riding and help us on the bike. And so for Daniel, it might be easy enough to go and work on his sprint speed and work on his high intensity training at a motocross track. Okay, that's easy enough to do during the week and do longer enduro rides on the weekend. If you're not able to do that, not able to get out to the track as much, don't have the flexibility, whatever it is, then we need to find another way to do that. And the way that you can work on that higher intensity training is through your gym work and through your training. So first of all, you want to identify, am I exercising at the moment or am I training? So exercise is simply just getting your heart rate up. Okay, it's just getting a sweat on, you might be a bit sore and you get a bit sweaty. Training is actually where you're moving from A to B. Okay, you're actually working towards something and you've got certain steps or check marks that you need to tick off to be able to get towards that goal. So just a quick example for that would be like if I want to be a bricklayer, I've got no idea how to lay bricks, right? But if I want to be a bricklayer, there's certain things I need to learn and certain things I need to do to be able to lay bricks. Now, it might be useful for me to learn how to use a computer. It might be useful for me to be able to do complex maths equations, and that might make me a better person overall, more knowledgeable. However, it's not going to help me to be a bricklayer. So that's the difference between training and exercising. Exercising is just doing a whole bunch of random stuff, okay? Training is actually doing the specific things designed to get you better, to get you towards a specific goal. So what that means is, okay, what are the things I need to improve on? Is it strength? Is it cardio? And then what's my action plan to improve my strength, improve my cardio for riding? And how do I know if what I'm doing is working or not? Okay, what I do with our riders is we have our own training app that we use, but you can use a pen and paper if you want and write down your workouts and your training. And this tracks their numbers and what they're lifting, and tracks their times for their cardio and conditioning, and tracks their body weight. And there's a whole heap of indicators we use to measure depending on the rider's goal. But overall, we want to make sure, okay, is what we're doing moving us closer towards our goal? Are we staying in the same spot, or are we moving further away from our goal? So if your goal is to lose weight, obviously we want to make sure you're losing weight every week. If we're not losing weight or we're gaining weight, then we need to identify what's going on, and we need to change our strategy and change our approach. And that's really the difference between training and exercising. So if you're getting ready for a big event, like a 3 hour, like getting ready for Think, then you want to make sure you're training, not exercising, and making sure you've got some sort of plan or strategy there. Third thing is strength versus cardio. Daniel mentioned here, motocross training, working on his fitness, and also working on the intensity as well. So there's a couple of things to keep in mind here. If you can't get out on the bike as much as what Daniel is, and you need another way to be able to work on your fitness and work on your training, then you need to be looking at your strength and cardio. So for Daniel, if he's getting on the bike a lot, then a lot of the strength that he's going to be building, he may do gym work as well, but he's going to be building a lot of strength just from being on the bike a lot. So if you've got a 100 kilo bike, and if he weighs 85 kilos, that's 185 kilos that he's wrestling around for half an hour, 2, 3 hours, multiple times a week that you're probably not doing. So the alternative to that, to be able to build that type of strength, is to be able to get in the gym and build strength. So some of the movements that you can use are things like back squats, deadlifts, bent over rows, overhead presses with a weight bar. Try not to use too many exercises, okay? Try not to do a whole heap of stuff. Try and pick a handful of exercises that you focus on for a period of, say, 3 to 4 weeks. Go hard on those. Focus on improving them and getting better with them and getting stronger, and then rotate your exercises and use something different. Cardio-wise, Daniel is using motocross training as his interval work. So when you're out riding, let's say, again, a 3-hour enduro you're working towards, there's the longer distance cardio system, and there's the shorter distance cardio system that you need to be able to develop in yourself. So you build the longer distance cardio system by doing longer type cardio. So you can do, like, it could be a cycle ride, it could be doing a row for an hour, it could be going for a run for an hour, right? The way that I recommend building that system is doing your longer rides on the weekend. So go for an enduro ride, do 1, 2, 3 hours on the bike, and build your long distance cardio system that way. On the shorter distance cardio side, if you can get to a motocross track and you can do intervals or do sprints to work on your intensity and your speed like Daniel, then by all means do that. Get out to the motocross track a few times a week and work on your high intensity energy system that way. If you're not able to do that, then we can work it in the gym. So the way we do it in the gym is you can jump on a rowing machine, do 30 seconds on, flat out, 30 seconds rest, repeat that for 12 rounds, okay? Total of 12 minutes for that. So the benefit of that is you can also maximize your time that you've got in the gym, because if you're strapped for time, you need to make sure you're doing the most effective training you can in the gym. So if you do your high intensity stuff during the week, that fits in well time-wise with your strength work, and then you can do your longer distance stuff, which takes hours out on the bike, and build your bike time and build your longer distance cardio system at the same time.